Chondro, corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro, corner watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro corner where we make our name. Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner. Chondro corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
What it do, Chondro heads. Welcome back to another episode of the Chondro Corner here on the Herp Collectors Network. I hope y'all having a fantastic Monday night. We got our boy Eric in the house, man. Tonight we talking about artificial versus maternal incubation, everything like that. Eric is a real, he a sleeper breeder. He not out there like that. He just chill and breed his animals, man. He got all kind of things going on over there at his facility. We're gonna talk more about that later on tonight, but we're gonna focus on artificial versus maternal incubation. But first, hey man, let's pay homage to the house. Hey, make sure y'all double tap the screen, hit the like button, share it out. Monday night we have the Chondro Corner retake rundown on Tuesdays, the Moat on Tuesdays, the Growth House on Wednesdays, Clutch Conversation on Thursdays, Double Clutch on Saturdays, and Morph Map on Sundays. Make sure y'all tap in Herp Collectors Network. We do something different every day of the week, man. Hey, if you're looking for some of the world's best enclosures, hit my boy Jordan up. Heartland Reptiles. Him and Mark Hager came up with a nice design that fit all your chondros in your retics, and your berms, and I think some other species too. So make sure you hit them up. Hey, tell them that I sent you. But what it do, family? Nothing really going on here. Besides that situation a few weeks ago or whatnot. So my decision is, since I don't want to be associated with that company or nor that person anymore, I will be selling off the animals that I got from that person. So I have two females, I believe. I will be nidal testing them, sending nidal tests out this week. And I will be probing them between 1 to 2 weeks. I have someone that's going to help me probe the subadults, or they kind of subadults. So I have someone that's going to help me probe them and everything like that, and so I can send them out. I believe they're both females again, but we're going to check and probe them to make sure and whatnot. One moment. Here we go. It's been a day, y'all. Trying to pull something up. There we go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring my boy Eric up.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, bro?
Having a good night. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Let's see who's in the Chizzy chat today. We got my boy Dylan. What's going on, Dylan? Daniel. My bad. Daniel. What's going on? Mom and Pops coming through. Appreciate y'all for showing up. My boy Mike, what it do, man? Hey, you in here every week. I appreciate that, honestly. Can't wait for Saturday night show. Hey, I feel you on that. Time to get sophisticated and ignorant. I know y'all there for that. 319 Reptiles, what's going on? How you doing, man? How you feeling tonight? But what's going on, Eric? How you feeling, man?
Doing well. Can't complain.
Mm-hmm. How's the Monday there? Hold on, where are you based out of?
Florida.
Oh man, is it raining over there? Has it been raining and cold?
It was earlier. It's not currently, I don't think, but yeah, we got a little bit of a rain earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's associated with that storm, but there's a storm going through, I think, Jamaica I can't remember the name of it, but the news report that I heard was a Category 5, which anybody out there with family out there in the Caribbean, Jamaica specifically, like my heart goes out to you.
For sure, for sure. Oh yeah, Mike, for sure, for sure. Hey, I'm ready for that show. Definitely ready for that show on Saturday, man. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. But yeah, man. Yeah, same here. It's been raining all day. It's supposed to rain all week. So it's that type of weather. Hey, I'm ready to, go in the house and lay down, but unfortunately I can't because I have to work. Gotta work, man. So yeah, man. So give us a little bit about yourself, your background and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a Florida boy, or I guess at this point a Florida man.
Yeah.
That could have some negative connotations, but I was born in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I grew up, in Miami. And, right now I'm in North Central Florida. I relocated about a year, close to 2 years now, up to the Ocala area to be closer to my parents. They're getting a little bit older. So I relocated to be closer to them. And I moved my reptile collection a little bit less than 2 years ago, and my rodent colony also. So that was kind of a little bit of a mission.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah, grew up in Florida, catching lizards and snakes, and kind of
that good fishing life out there.
A lot of fishing. You have both fresh and salt water because we're on the coast. So, yep, a lot of fishing activity out here.
Yeah, I was born in Palm Beach.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, my family, we're from Belle Glade down there by Clueston and stuff like that. Yep. So
yeah, that's where I just moved from. I was in West Palm Beach, out in Wellington. So it was on the western edge of the West Palm Beach city. So out there to the Lake Okeechobee area is not too far.
Small world.
Yep.
What it do?
A lot of the agriculture out there, the sugar cane, different crops and
yeah, we used to chase rabbits in the sugarcane field to get faster. Hey, and those little rabbits, they was fast, man.
So just a sidetrack, as a kid, we used to go to our grandparents' farm in Oklahoma, and they grew alfalfa hay. And so at a certain time of the year, they would cut it down. And so we'd ride on the back of the combine and we'd look for the rabbits running away and we'd go and try and catch them.
Right. Hey, them things are fast. Them things are real fast.
Yep.
Yeah, though, man. So how did you get into reptiles and
just growing up, as a kid, like I said, we would go out to our grandparents' place in Oklahoma. And I remember, we would catch corn snakes and, we'd see all the different kinds of snakes that they had there. And then growing up kind of in the suburbs of Miami, we'd still find snakes. We'd turn over the coral rocks in the garden and we'd find little ringnecks. We'd find corn snakes, a lot of black racers because black racers do well in suburban areas.
Right.
And then, we learned when we're little kids, how to make a little lasso to catch the brown and nose with a little stick and a little lasso. And,
y'all was out there just being wild.
Just kids, growing up.
Kids. Yeah, down in the canal and stuff.
Yeah, I'm 50 years old. So back in the day when we were kids, there wasn't as much fear of letting the kids just, run outdoors and be kids. And so it seems like a different environment that we live in now. But back when I was a kid, we could take our bikes and go riding for miles and go playing and, doing whatever. And so, you grew up doing that. And then, as I got older, I got a little more serious. And, the local library was not too far away. I could ride my bike there. And, I would check out all the books on reptiles and amphibians. And I read everything they had in their library, which is a small local library. So they had probably a dozen books on reptiles and amphibians. But I checked out every single one of them. And, just kind of continued on with that path of learning more and more and more and getting more involved with it. And, then eventually kind of trying to,
What's going on,
kind
Rich?
of make it kind of like a semi-professional thing.
Right. Did you ever get those little zoo books in the mail with all the animals in it, like little rainbow zoo books?
Yeah, you're talking about
Yeah.
like, well, I remember as a kid getting like Ranger Rick magazines,
Uh-huh.
and they might have been kind of similar. I'm not 100% sure.
What it do, Elias? Thank y'all for coming through. Richard, Elias, Ty, what they do, what they do. Appreciate y'all, man. But yeah, so how did you get into the chondro aspect of the hobby?
Yeah, so I was thinking about that earlier today, and the first chondros that I kept were in the early to mid 90s. I had two yellow Beox, and
Mhm.
at that time, I can guarantee you they were imports.
Oh yeah,
Back
I'm pretty
then,
sure.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And the way I acquired them was through a trade. I produced some Argentine red tegus, and one of the local keepers,
Mhm.
Ryan George, he and I had, done some stuff before or after. And so he traded me these two green tree pythons for some tegus.
Mhm.
And I kept them for a while. I wasn't really super into them, I guess, because I ended up selling them to another party down the road and not like trying to breed them or anything. But that was my first experience keeping them. And I didn't
Mhm.
keep them like too different than the other snakes that I kept. I kept a different variety, a pretty wide variety of animals back then. I kept like corn snakes, rat snakes, king snakes,
Oh, you kept
uh,
everything. You.
Haitian tree boas,
Oh man.
Brazilian rainbow boa. Like I had a bunch of different stuff. So like I didn't keep them that much different. I kept them with perches,
Mhm.
and they would perch up and whatever. So they did fine for me. They did great. I ended up moving on from them. And then many years later, when I was up in West Palm Beach, I linked up with a local there, Ian Bissell, who operates under S&J Reptiles. Him and
Okay.
his family, it's his wife Elise, and then their two kids, and
Mhm.
that's actually the origin of the business name S&J is from his two kids. Those are the first initials for his two
Yeah.
kids.
We had them on earlier this year.
Oh, okay,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah. Good
So
dude.
yeah,
Good dude.
a good guy. We ended up kind of meeting coincidentally, sort of like I guess maybe not coincidentally, but um, he had posted something online, or his wife had posted something online about like some hides. They had some extra hides they didn't need. It's like, oh, I
Mhm.
can use those hides, and I ended up trading him some frozen rats that I produced for his hides, and ever since then we've just been cool. And this was many years ago, so he
Mhm.
was just started getting into his production phase back then when I met him. And he didn't even have an incubator set up to incubate eggs. He was just kind of like, hey, I've
Just
had these animals that I've been growing up for the last 7
yeah.
years, or however many years he's been growing them up, and then now they're getting to adults and they can produce. And he kind of got caught with his pants down a little bit, where he had a couple females that came off the eggs, and he didn't have an artificial incubator, an incubator to set them up for
Yeah.
artificial. And
Mhm.
so I was like, well, I've got an incubator. I'm a snake breeder that's local. Like we're cool with each other. So I ended up incubating a couple of clutches of eggs from his females that ended up kind of abandoning them.
Mhm.
And we worked out a deal where he gave me some of the babies in exchange for helping him out.
Yeah.
Um, that was his initial offer, and then I was like, I got to give you something. So I ended up paying him a few bucks for some babies. This
Mhm.
was 2010, I think, and 2009, if I recall correctly. But around
Okay.
that time frame, or no, it might have been later than that. I'm sorry, 2015 maybe.
Okay.
Um, and so I ended up
And these
raising
are
some of
chondro
those up.
eggs, correct? These
What's
chondro
that?
eggs. I said these are chondro eggs, correct?
Yeah, green tree
Okay.
pythons.
Mhm.
And then later on down the road, I ended up acquiring some other animals from different, different people, and So, anyways, I grew up some animals, had some success with producing them, but that was how I really got into starting to try and breed them. Was my buddy Ian Bissell with S&J Reptiles. He basically, kind of helped show me the ropes and kind of, help me come
Dope.
along with what I was doing to try and actually cultivate them and reproduce them.
That's a dope story, man. Hey, shout out to E, man. Shout out. So from that, like, what were you even like planning to get chondros, get in the green tree pythons?
No.
So you just raised them up and you just bred them.
Yeah, so my hesitation for years in getting into them was I would see the imports come in for dirt cheap. And back when I was getting into them, when I was getting some animals from Ian, like I probably paid like $150, $200 for animals.
Right.
But back then, the market was much different. The prices increased tremendously to nowadays. Nowadays you would be hard pressed to find a captive bred baby for less than $1,000.
Right.
Back
when I got in, this was about 3 years ago when I got in, to the chondro game, and Beox were about I want to say about maybe $700, $800 captive bred, and now they like went up to maybe 1,200, like captive bred, because the lineage and all that stuff was going on, sis. Yeah, but I seen the inflation rate in chondros as well. Even though I just been in only 3 years, 3 years, it's just been, that's wild.
Yeah, and part of it has to do with the cost involved, somewhat, talking about inflation. But regardless, there's a lot of factors. But back in those days, you could get a captive bred chondro for $500-$700.
Yeah.
No problem. But now, like I said, you would be hard pressed to find a true U.S. captive produced baby for less than $1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the changing of the times.
Definitely. So when you had your first clutch, were you like looking to produce any like designers or localities? You just put them together?
No, so just kind of how I started, I wasn't really like looking into getting into them. I just happened to have a local friend that I saw an opportunity to get some babies, and work with them. So like I started out with some babies that were yellow neonates that my buddy Ian had produced. And I grew some of those up and ended up acquiring some other stock. I acquired an undocumented pair from Shane Adamson through my buddy Ian. He was going through some health issues, and I ended up acquiring an adult pair that had produced for him previously. They went on to produce some babies for me as well. And so my collection has kind of been a little bit of a mix over the years, but just kind of like not really actively looking to
grow it,
genetics, or work with certain phenotypes. It's more just been like animals that I've come across and I work with them, and hey, this one would work well with this one. I'll pair up these two. So I haven't really been super focused on like the green tree python reproduction as a whole. I'm a snake breeder. I work with a lot of ball pythons. That's mainly what I work with. And so with green tree pythons, it's just kind of been like, hey, this is a cool avenue to go down and explore.
Jeff?
So I haven't really put in a whole lot of planning and thought. It's just been animals that I've acquired through circumstance. And then once they get big enough to reproduce, figure out which are the best to pair up with.
Right. So, so you did maternal incubation before your first clutch with other species, correct?
Yeah, so my first experience with maternal incubation was with ball pythons, and I had run out of incubator space. I made a homemade like a wine cooler incubator, and I had like one clutch too many, so I basically left the clutch with the female. She ended up having some babies hatch out, and then over the years, I've done more and more with that, with the
Yeah.
ball pythons, to where the last, I guess, 2 or 3 seasons, I've done all maternal incubation with the ball pythons. So
Hmm.
I had a lot more experience doing that with ball pythons. But based on that experience, I'm kind of like, there's not so much difference with green tree pythons, you know?
Gotcha.
So I gained a little bit of confidence with the ball pythons to kind of enable me to experiment and do it with the green tree pythons.
Hmm.
And since I was kind of working with the green tree pythons just for the hell of it and just kind of like as a side project, like
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like it's no big deal.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how I kind of
That's
started
dope.
trying the maternal incubation with the green tree pythons.
Gotcha. So how many maternal incubation with the green tree pythons do you have? Is it
Uh, Probably a total of about 5 or 6 in
sheesh?
total, something
Okay.
like that.
Oh
It
man.
might be a little bit less because it's been so many years. Some of these they could, when I was going through my photos to prepare for this, some of
Yeah.
them could have been clutches that I ended up pulling to try maternal, to try artificial.
Hmm.
But with successful maternal incubation clutches, I've done probably 3 or 4.
Okay, gotcha. And how many artificial green tree python clutches have you incubated?
Just 1 or 2.
Okay, that's nice. How's your hatch rate with both sides?
I wish I could give you a good answer, but I haven't really crunched numbers, and quite frankly, I
Mhm.
haven't kept the best data, the best records
Yeah,
in order.
because it's like a side quest. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you.
in order
Yeah.
to crunch numbers. Whereas the ball python, since that's kind of like been more of my primary focus, I have a lot more records that I can lay back, fall back on, and
Hmm.
then put those numbers into a database or spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Um, but since the green tree pythons have been just more like you said a side quest, I don't have as good numbers to give you an answer to that. But my overall feeling with it is that whether you try artificial or whether you try maternal, it's sometimes just a flip of the coin.
Gotcha.
You're gonna have some females that are gonna be great mothers and wrap those eggs and take care of them, and so you have some females that are gonna like scatter those eggs all over and
Hmm.
abandon them, and like
Yeah,
and
that means it's time to try the artificial. Have
yeah.
you had that happen to you before, where they just abandoned what did maternally first, and then uh they abandoned the eggs, and then they just you put them in the artificial incubator?
So I've experienced that with ball pythons, but I haven't experienced that so much with green tree pythons. What I have experienced with green tree pythons is that instead of laying them all in one spot and then immediately like hugging them and wrapping them,
Hmm.
they kind of scatter the eggs and they never wrap in the first place. And I was looking through photos and I found a photo in a nest box with just the eggs by themselves. Like the mother
Hmm.
had basically dipped. And so I was like, yeah, that's a good example of like, when a female just doesn't really have that instinct for whatever reason to wrap around them. You have to
Yeah.
have a backup plan if you're gonna try, doing maternal.
Hmm.
Have an artificial, setup. Have a regular incubator set up to where if things don't go as planned, you can pull that, those eggs and try
Yeah,
artificially.
definitely. Nice. And then I have some pictures of, well, we're gonna start with the ball python first because I like the ball python.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
so I
that look
think that
like
was in 2010.
yeah.
And the red that you see on the left and right, that's from a kitty litter tray. I basically set a kitty litter tray inside of my tub that
Yeah.
had, it looks like it was like peat moss or cocoa but anyways, I was like, well, let the female, sit there, and she actually hatched some babies out.
Oh, nice. Nice. That look like a good size clutch too. Maybe one, two, three, four, maybe five.
Something like that, 5, 6.
Yeah, that's a nice size clutch. And then we have some from the actual green tree. Oh man.
Yes. So if you look really closely in between the coils of the female on the left, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a snout, a little
Yeah.
yellow baby coming. And so you can see just to the right of that, her ribs are showing.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't eaten this whole time while she's been on eggs.
Yeah.
And with the ball pythons, I feed them when they're on eggs. But
Mm-hmm.
with the green tree pythons, I've never really experimented with feeding them. I just kind of leave
Left
them
it.
alone.
Gotcha.
So she's very thin. You can see her ribs right there.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're healthy, they bounce back very quickly.
Nice. Nice. That's a nice. What is that? Is that
So she's a little bit different color, or maybe it's just the lighting from that photo, but she has some blue highlights, and I think she's a sarong type from
mm-hmm.
that general region. She's an undocumented animal, so I can't say 100% sure what she is.
Gotcha. Is that from the clutch that I got?
It might be. I'd have to look to see which one you got for me.
It was I think it's IB 11509 to the sarong.
So
I
that
think
is the mother.
okay.
Yep.
That's the mother, man. Dope.
With that clutch, it was a different father, I think. But
Okay.
that's the mother from the one that you have in your rack. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Dope. What's going
And
on,
this
Pat?
I'm sorry?
No, I was just saying what's up to Pat in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a different female, a different clutch, and once the baby started hatching, I ended up misting the female to make sure that she got some hydration. I felt more comfortable about, possibly getting the eggs wet at this point because most of the babies had pipped already.
Right.
But once again, there's a female that sat on eggs, for the whole incubation process without any food. So, after she gets done with this, she's going to be ready to get some meals and get some weight back on.
During the maternal incubation period, do you see the mother, do the little shakiness to warm up the eggs and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually that's what I read and heard. That's what happened.
Yep. You'll see it sometimes with females that actually are not on eggs. When they just laid eggs and you pull them off them, sometimes they'll have such a strong instinct that they'll be like on the ground or on a perch and they're still twitching because they're just instinctually doing it. And then over time, they kind of realize, I guess, like there's no eggs to incubate, so they stop doing it. But you can actually see it if you remove the eggs and do the artificial route also.
Gotcha. What's going on, Randall? What's up? But man, that's dope. That's real dope. Do you test for Nido in your collection?
No, I don't. So that's something that I wrote down as a note that's one of the cons if you're talking about pros and cons. With maternal incubation, you have that possibility. My thought process is that a healthy female is not going to go all the way to producing healthy eggs, incubating eggs, and hatching eggs if she's afflicted or if she's unhealthy.
Yeah.
So my thought process is that if she's able to do that and hatch out eggs and hatch out healthy babies, she's not a huge Nido risk concern for me. And when I've hatched babies through maternal incubation, I've never had any issues with babies. They all act like regular, babies that you would hatch out that through artificial means. And yeah, you get some that are a pain in the butt to get started feeding and whatever, but that's kind of typical to deal with. But I've never had a clutch that were through maternal incubation where like all the babies died or something. Like I've never had an issue with it.
What's going on, Mike? What's going on? Thank y'all for coming in. But yeah, man. So you don't Nido test your collection? That's all right. Good.
Nope. I have a pretty small collection. I did a head count before the show, and I have 18 animals total. Most of those being ones that I'm growing up, and I don't acquire a bunch of new animals. Like, I kind of just acquire animals occasionally when opportunities arise.
Definitely.
Of the collection currently, all of them are U.S. captive produced. I don't have any imported animals. They're all animals that have been in the collection for a significant period of time. So would it surprise me if I had Nido and I tested for it? It wouldn't surprise me based on what I know currently.
Yeah.
But my issue is that there's more unknowns. There's a lot more that we don't know. And so for me to sink a bunch of money into testing every single animal, not just once, because we all know testing an animal once doesn't really give you too much unless you get a positive right off the bat. So for me to spend the time and energy on this kind of side quest where I'm just kind of doing it for fun, it's not really what I want to do. So anyways, with that being said, any animals that I release from my collection, they're animals that are healthy, they've been thriving, they've been doing well. I've never had a customer come back to me and say, hey, that animal I acquired from you, I tested it and it came back Nido positive.
Right.
I've never had a single customer ever come back to me and give me an issue as far as animals that I sold them. I've had people come back to me saying, hey, I accidentally killed that animal you sold me, or, something like that.
Yeah.
But I've never had any real motivation to test my entire collection.
Understood. How many animals are you sitting on, like, currently with all species added up?
So as far as species, I have a handful, maybe just a little bit under. So I have green tree pythons, ball pythons, as I discussed earlier, Australian water pythons, and Central American boas, boa imperator.
Yeah.
And in total, I have probably somewhere between 200 and 250 heads at this time.
Oh, I know you up early. You up early every morning, huh?
Mostly up late at night.
Late at night. Got you.
But yeah, most of them are ball pythons. I'd say probably the ball pythons are around the 200 count. And then with the other species, it makes up for the other 50 to 75, something like that.
Gotcha.
But keep in mind, right now I'm heavy with babies. I have it's the time of the year when I have a lot of babies. So after I get rid of some of the babies from this year, I'll be closer to the 200 mark.
Okay. Yeah. Understand that. So what lines do you normally work with the green tree pythons?
So the only ones that I've been able to breed, or I guess successfully breed, I should say, are ones that have like genetics to produce yellow neonates. So to date, I've only produced yellow babies. And that's just kind of been the genetics that I acquired. And now that I'm growing up some other animals from different origins, I'll have the ability to produce reds, and that'll be probably in about 3 years or so, maybe 4 years, because they're pretty small babies, or at this point, I guess, yearlings. But I'm raising up some yearlings that have some genetics to produce red babies, and those are the Tamika or half Tamika crosses, whatever you want to call them. But I have a group of 5 of them that I'm growing up, that those will have the ability to produce red babies.
Okay. So what's the other cross? So it's a Tamika, and what else?
You know what? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I have to
Okay.
look at the paperwork.
Gotcha.
But I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the male that was the Tamika. The female wasn't anything crazy out of this world. It was probably something like a Lyra, a Cyclops, or something
Yeah.
relatively common like that.
That's a good
But
pairing though. The Cyclops and the Tamika. Yeah.
yeah, but the Tamika male, if he's still around, I don't know who ended up acquiring him because
Mhm.
there were some health issues with the couple that was producing them. The husband ended up passing away.
Yeah.
And so their collection got kind of dispersed around. But if that Tamika male is still around, it's a smoking animal. These like super blue triangle highlights, just a beautiful animal. But anyways, we'll see what these end up turning out like. It's still pretty young in their life. They're only like yearling stage. So
Yeah.
they got a few years to grow up and show their adult colors.
Mhm. How they turning out now though? Are they looking
So
pretty
far, they're
promising?
looking good. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's hard to say. They change so much until they get to, a reproducing size. They like,
Mhm.
I'm not sure what they're going to end up turning out like.
Yeah. Man, let me pull out the one that I got from you. I think the father to this one was from Eden to a sarong. I think you got
Yes.
this.
So the male from Ian has Trooper Wash bloodline in it, a
Yeah,
high blue bloodline from Trooper Wash.
the
So
TW.
the male that produced that animal that you're holding up has
Mm-hmm.
lineage for a long time back, over a decade. Oh yeah, I see some of those yellow, some of those white flecks. Kind of that's for the male
Mm-hmm.
has Aru bloodline, and those white spots are showing up from that Aru bloodline from the Trooper Wash side.
Yes, for sure, man. One of my favorite animals in my collection, honestly.
Well, I'm glad to see
I
it.
love the blue.
I'm glad to see it. I'm glad it's doing well.
Oh yeah, man. Great eater. Great eater. Never had a problem with it eating. Nothing like that.
Awesome. Good
So
to hear.
never. Oh no. I think it's a male. I think it's a male, but we're gonna see.
Have you been checking the shed skins?
Yeah, I've been checking. It
Okay.
is looking like male, but we're gonna see. I'm gonna wait for another about 6 months and check it then again.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I have some clutch mates of that animal still in the collection that I'm growing up.
Gonna be nice. I might, if it's a male, I'm gonna probably find some more TW line stuff so I can pair it with and try to keep that lineage going with the TW.
So kind of like a little side note, my buddy Ian at S&J Reptiles. I hope I'm not saying anything I'm not supposed to, but um, this
Now spill all the beans. Spill all of them.
this lineage is from a clutch that had pink tongue offspring, which is apparently a possible marker for albinism.
Oh.
And so that sire that produced your animal, one of its clutch mates was a pink tongue animal.
Oh.
And if you look at the history of albinism and green tree pythons, at least some of them come from Trooper Wash bloodline.
I'm gonna definitely look into that. I'm gonna talk to Tim.
So yeah, I think Mendez is the guy that's doing most of the albino chondro work.
Yeah, Marshall Mendez. Yeah.
Yes, but he can probably attest to that, to some of that lineage coming back to the Trooper Wash bloodline.
Okay.
You know, he was one of the OGs. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the chances of any of my animals actually being het albino is probably very slim. Yeah. So therefore, the chance of your offspring is probably like a
Slim
needle in a
Slim, yeah,
haystack
but
kind of thing. But like,
that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what I love about the chondro community. You know, everybody keeping paperwork and lineage and documents on specific animals, and going back and reading in this history, because you can go far back to like the late 1980s.
yeah, even
And
possibly before that. Yeah,
mhm.
but yeah,
so yeah.
there's a lot of people that paved the way before you and I. People that did a lot of this stuff way before we
Mhm.
did.
Literally. We just getting started, man. We just getting started over here.
Yeah.
I recently had a ball python clutch lay, I believe it was last Sunday. So it's in an incubator right now. One of the eggs already going bad. So I put the gold bond foot powder on there, and hopefully it does what it need to do and control that mold or
Yeah.
control it.
What
So
was the pairing on the clutch?
the pairing was a dreamsicle male to a pied double head hypo Labrador albino.
Okay.
Yeah. So get some
Yeah.
dreams. Hopefully get some dreams head hypo. That's what I'm hoping out of it.
Cool.
Or
Yeah.
talk.
Sometimes those eggs that start growing stuff or whatever, like they can make it. It's just kind of like a toss of a flip of the coin. So
Yeah.
you never know.
The other ones are good because I got two separate boxes, but the other ones are good though.
Okay.
It's 3-3. It was first time mom, laid 6 eggs. Nice, beautiful, big too. I was surprised how big they were. But yeah, everything looked healthy with the other 3. So we're gonna see.
Cool. Good luck.
Yeah. So when with the chondros, is your first instinct is to maternally incubate?
Well, since I relocated a little less than 2 years ago, I haven't had an incubator because I sold my incubator to a buddy of mine that was where I was from back in West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically trying to lighten the load of stuff I had to move. So since I've been at my new location, I don't actually have an incubator. So I'll have to figure that out. If I end up, wanting to breed some green tree pythons, I'll have to kind of plan it
What it
out.
do is, yeah.
So
You
I'm
can make
not.
your own. You can make your own little incubator as well. So if need
Yeah,
be, but
yeah.
you done maternal incubation so much, like that's what is that what you prefer?
Um, I don't know that I have a preference. Like you can do it either way. There's pros and cons to either way. With the artificial incubation, you can get that female back on food. You can get some weight back on her. Like you can get her hydrated better. Like
Mm-hmm.
so. There's pros and cons to each way. I'm not like one of these people that's like, oh, this is the right way. It just whatever works for that individual keeper. And for
Yeah.
me, sometimes it just depends on the factors. Like if I've got a female that's showing really strong maternal instincts and she's wrapping that clutch and doing a really good job taking care of those babies, and I can tell, or those eggs, and I can tell she's got a viable clutch.
Yeah.
I can sneak a peek in between the coils and see some viable eggs there. Like
Mhm.
I'd be much more likely to leave them alone versus a female that lays her eggs and abandons them, or like
Right.
it's a clutch where like there's only a few good eggs and the rest are slugs, and you only have like 3 or 4 good eggs. Like I'd be more likely to artificially incubate those 3 or 4 good eggs and then just let the female get back on track. So like I'm not a person that's like it's this way or the other. It's just whatever the circumstances, whatever fits the bill. That's what I would
Yeah.
probably do.
Got you. Got you. Definitely understand that. Feel you on that. So what was husbandry? Let's roll on to husbandry. Like when you let them maternally incubate, what do you have the temp on or the heat tape on?
So whenever I've done whenever I've done a maternal, I should say, it's been with the radiant heat panel.
Mm-hmm.
And so generally with my hot side on the underside of below the heat panel, maybe 6, 8 inches, 10 inches below it, it's around 86 degrees.
Okay.
On the cool side, it's around 80, the ambient temperature on the cool side. Now we're talking about an enclosure, PVC enclosure that's 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got like the old PVC.com enclosures. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but they're kind of standard 3 by 2 by 2 PVC with glass sliding doors. And what I would do when a female's on eggs is do extra spraying in the enclosure. And because the radiant heat panel is around 86 or so, I might bump it up a little bit because the nest box is on the ground and it's further away from the radiant heat panel. So I might bump it up a little bit, based on what the temperature is when I'm using a heat gun. Putting the laser on the female and seeing what her temperature is. But in that 86, 88 range. And then spray around the enclosure, not on the female, but when you're spraying the enclosure, the walls, the floor, the ceiling, whatever, it's going to boost up that ambient humidity.
That humidity. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to get closer to that, 80, 90% humidity so that it kind of soaks into that nest box and it allows the female to stay hydrated and allows the eggs to stay hydrated.
Nice. How about for artificial?
When I've done artificial, I've just used vermiculite, like a 50-50 mix by weight. Just kind of standard plastic Tupperware type of enclosed egg box. Nothing special, just regular standard.
Right. What do you incubate in?
When I was doing artificial, it was in a sea serpents, hot box, 48-inch tall PVC incubator. They've got the false wall in the back where there's like a fan, or nowadays I think for that unit they have 2 fans that basically push the air through that false wall and get a circulation of air, so you get a more even temperature.
Yeah, got you. Okay, that's nice then. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's a Florida company back where I was located, back near West Palm Beach. They're a little bit south. I think they're in Del Rey. But they've been around for a long time. They mostly make rack systems, but they ended up acquiring the Hotbox brand, and that's their incubator side of the business.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting me an incubator from Sea Serpents. I have some of their racks, honestly. Here, matter of fact,
that's mostly what I use is the plastic racks from them.
Yeah, nice. So we got some more pictures right here of. I think this the one that the clutch. Well, the Neo that came from this pairing. I think.
So that's the female that produced your baby. But that's a different male.
Oh, different male. Okay.
That was from a previous pairing.
Nice.
So you can see those, I don't remember what you call them, those PVC perches, where they like make them kind of like colored or whatever they do to them.
Yeah, like wood looking-ish. Yeah.
But that's the old PVC.com enclosures. They're no longer in business. They shut down a couple years back. But those are the enclosures that I've used.
Nice. Then we got this nice clutch right here. All of them look perched up. All of them looking healthy. Healthy.
Yeah, so that's basically the egg box that I use for incubation. It's just a plastic Tupperware type of box. And then after the baby started hatching, I put in one of these PVC printed perches David Brahms. I can't remember what he's currently going under. Maybe the Reptile perch.
Yeah, the Reptile perch. Yeah.
Okay. They changed their name a little while back, but this was back under their original name, whatever they started with. And I bought some PVC perches from him, and I really like them. I still use them to this day. I'm a big proponent of them. I like them a lot.
Yeah, man, I got one of those in my closet right now, literally.
Yeah.
I got one of those in my closet. I have the David Brahms little one, was it the little one little box for the chondro? So I got that as well.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
one little shoebox, man.
Yeah, I bought a couple batches of those perches, and I've been happy with them.
Yeah. So we
just
got
keep them out of the sun. Don't put them out in the sun. They'll warp on you.
Got you. Noted. So we got this one, this little baby on the branch right here, perched up.
Yeah, so that was a little baby that I had acquired, kind of like my beginning journey. This was produced by Ian Bissell, and I think it was just this one baby. I decided to kind of experiment and put it into a bioactive enclosure.
Yeah.
So in the background, you can see some live plants growing. And at the time, I just kind of fooling around. I figured, they're such cool display animals. It would look even cooler if there was like live plants growing and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
and like we all, all fantasized when we first came in. Oh, we gonna put it in this dope bio enclosure. But you realize further down the road that the more what it is, how would I say it, the less room for issues, and deficiencies. I just keep mine on puppy pads. That's it. Puppy pads, little water bowl, perch. That's it.
Yeah, so like one of the issues you can run into with this type of enclosure is that if that animal ends up missing the prey item, let's say you're offering prey on tongs and it misses the animal and it ends up striking the ground and you have loose substrate, it could get a bunch of stuff in its mouth.
Right.
So there are certain things that you have to kind of keep in mind if you're going to try and go down this road or this avenue. For me personally, based on my experience of doing this, if you do it correctly, it's not as big of a deal as some people make it out to be. One of the things that's kind of kept me out of the community is that some people are so opinionated, or maybe they can't express their opinions so politely. They have these ideas about keeping them in bioactive enclosures that it's absolutely wrong under any circumstance.
Right.
And I 100% totally disagree with that. I think if you're doing it properly and you're taking the right precautions, it's absolutely doable. This animal, while I had it in this enclosure, it's just a glass like 30-gallon high or 40, probably more like 40-gallon high enclosure that I had, planted and stuff, with soil. I never, ever once had a single problem with shedding or feeding. It did absolutely great for me while I had it in this enclosure. Eventually it outgrew it, and I put it into a PVC enclosure just because that's what I had at the time. I didn't have a big, nice, planted bioactive that I could upgrade it to. And it was just simpler to move it into a PVC enclosure. But when I see these people online that are just like absolutely 100% against bioactive, I disagree with that.
Yeah, it turned you away from the community,
Well, not just that. There's other stuff, like I'm not big on drama and getting into all this stuff. I like to kind of keep to myself and do my own thing.
That's why I said, you're a sleeper breeder, man. Like you had so many clutches under your belt for chondros, and I like your work. Purchase the animal from you, nice, and hopefully it breed for me. Hopefully it
Yeah,
breed for me someday.
but yeah,
But
this
yeah, that's why I wanted that have you on the show, because not a lot of people do maternal incubation, and I respect your work that you do, especially with the ball pythons as well.
well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate being invited as a guest. But that animal that you see in the picture, I
Hmm.
still have that animal in my collection to this day.
Hmm. Nice, nice. So do you do any cycling?
Yes
Uh,
and no.
mhm.
So what happens with my collection is that during the winter time, they just naturally experience more cooler ambient temperatures as well as a drop in barometric pressure. When we get these cold fronts come through Florida,
Right.
I'm not running my air conditioner. I'm opening up my windows, letting that cool air in, and
Yeah.
that's getting to the animals. And so that's not only lowering the temperature a little bit, but it's also changing the barometric pressure.
Hmm.
So I do, I guess, cycle them, but I don't do anything different other than I'm just like opening up the air because it's winter time and letting the cold air in. And
Hmm.
so in that way, it's cycling them, but I don't do anything different as far as keeping them, like feeding them. If
Hmm.
they're eating, I keep feeding them. I don't take them off food. I don't do any food cycling. Um, so I do cycle them somewhat, I guess you could say.
Okay. So what's your feeding regimen? Do you feed
With the
mice, rats, ASFs? What do you feed?
so unfortunately, my mouse production has just been non-existent since I relocated. So for the last couple of years, I haven't been producing mice. So the only mice that I feed are frozen thawed. They come from Cold-Blooded Cafe.
Hey,
Desert,
cold blooded, the truth. Cold
yeah,
blooded, the truth,
Desiree and her
man.
team take care of me, and they've been taking care of me for many years. So shout out to them if you're looking for frozen feeders.
Yeah.
I definitely
Clean.
recommend you checking them out.
Yep.
So for my mice, I've been getting them frozen thawed. For my African soft furs and my regular rats, it's a combination of in-house production as well as cold-blooded cafe.
Hmm.
Um, and then last year, actually, some of the clutch mates from the one you have, um, they didn't want to take rodents for me. I just had a hell of a time, and I've gotten a lot of neonates started, from egg. Some of them were produced in house, and some of them were acquired from other breeders that basically gave up hope on trying to get their offspring to feed. And
Hmm.
I said, well, I'm willing to take a shot at buying them from you, unestablished, not feeding, and willing to take my shot. Um, and so I've got a lot of babies going, and for whatever reason, this last year, I gave up hope, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and offer some lizards. So I still have three offspring from the clutch that yours came from that are on brown anoles that I've been feeding them lizards,
Yeah.
and I know eventually they're gonna switch over to rodents.
Yeah.
So I'm more of the opinion that I'd rather have a live offspring, a live green tree python that's eating lizards,
Yeah.
than a dead green tree python that's not eating rodents.
Right. Right. Because a lot of breeders, they were like, oh man, just stick them in the freezer. That's their opinion on it. And I don't agree with that. I'm gonna assist feed as much as I need to, or eventually it will turn on, you know, and
Yeah,
that's it.
you know, and you can kind of tell from experience with babies. Like if it's a strong baby, it's striking, it's got the will to live,
Yeah.
versus an animal that's just it's not gonna make it. I get it. If it's an animal that's just not gonna make it, freezer time. I get it. But if it's
Right.
an animal that's striking, but it's just not taking rodents for you, Like, my opinion is I'd rather eating lizards and be alive than being dead. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do to mitigate things. You know, you can assist feed rodent tails.
Mm-hmm.
Rodent, mouse or rat tails are really easy to assist feed.
Yeah.
You can go with severed pinky heads. You get them to strike hardened wall. One of the things that he's helped teach the community is getting these babies to strike on a pinky head.
Right.
And they strike it and they can't dislodge it from their mouth. So they basically have no other choice but to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some other things you can do besides feeding whole prey.
Yeah. Have you tried chicken gizzards?
I have not.
Yeah. So what I like to do if I have like someone that switched off, because most of mine chondros I got from neos, they was only like maybe a month or two old, and that's it. They wasn't fully established. But sometimes I would just dip the rodent in chicken gizzard like juice, heat up the rodent, dip it in real quick, and then sometimes they'll take that.
I've heard about that recently. I haven't had any babies to get started since I've heard of that, but I have heard of that recently. My kind of trick was down feathers, bird feathers.
Check down. Yeah, check down.
And I'm a big proponent of that, a huge proponent of that. I've had babies that would strike and strike and strike unscented pinkies, sent them one time, and they take it like that. And so,
and like magic, like they work,
So I'm a big proponent of the down feathers from birds. I've heard of many different sources, whether it's chickens or quails or canaries or whatever.
Yeah. So with ball pythons is most of them, they'll take a live rat or frozen thaw. I try to get them on frozen thaw for the first time, frozen thaw rat or frozen thaw mice. If not, if a week or two go by, then I just put a little hopper in there or a pup in there and call it a day, put a little pinky in there and call it a day.
Yeah.
And most of the time they'll take that live pinky and then I switch them back on frozen thaw because that's how I would like to sell it to my customer. Frozen thaw, I know they're gonna take live for sure. I know that, but I would rather have frozen thaw just so the customer don't have any issue with feeding.
Yeah. So I do a lot of the social media stuff on Instagram, and as you probably already know. And one of the things that I like about Instagram is that over the years you can see more of an international view. So there's some countries that they don't allow you to feed live rodents to your snakes because of the humane laws, or cruelty laws. So there's some keepers in other countries that by law they have to get their stuff eating frozen thawed because otherwise you're breaking the law.
Yeah. How about pre-kill? Can they do pre-kill?
I don't know enough about it, but that might be an option where you humanely euthanize them. Maybe like, cervical dislocation or gassing them.
Gassing, that's the best.
But they're still warm and, they're still like, smelly. But, there, like I said, there's some other keepers out there that they don't have that same luxury as us.
Definitely. So what can we look for next from you?
I'm hoping to do a little bit less. I'm trying to reduce a little bit in volume just because I have too many heads. So, for example, this year I only produced, I think, 12 ball python clutches, whereas the year before
that's still a lot.
Wow.
That's still me. Only hope to produce 1 or 2 a year. That's because I have a small collection and I don't want it to turn into a a job. You know, I just like to relax, have fun with it, and look at the new genes, whatever come in. It's not that I'm gonna acquire it or nothing like that, but that's what I like to do.
No. To each their own. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that at all. But what I was going to say is that this year I produced around 12 clutches, and then the year before I produced around 18 clutches.
Oh man.
So I'm already starting to kind of ramp down a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and who knows, things might change in the future depending on what the market does and stuff like that. But currently, I'm trying to reduce my ball python collection and therefore my production.
Hmm.
And then maybe if I'm successful with doing that, then maybe ramp up some other stuff. Maybe more green tree python stuff and maybe more work with some other species.
Definitely.
That's kind of my current focus is trying to reduce the numbers with the ball pythons, and that'll open up some of my bandwidth to do some other stuff.
You definitely understand that. So what like ball python morphs are you trying to, I guess, get out of your collection?
So unfortunately, I'm like the king of hets. I have hets everywhere in my collection that, to me, I have such a hard time selling an animal that I know has breeding potential because it's either a het or a double het
Hmm.
for pennies on the dollar. Like, it breaks my heart. So I'm like, I would rather hold that animal back and make babies from that animal, even though
Yeah.
only 50% of the babies, are going to have whatever gene it is, or 25%, or whatever
Right.
the numbers are. So for me, I have a lot of hets and double hets that realistically I should move out of the collection. It just breaks my heart to sell them for pennies on the dollar when
What do
they
you primarily work with? What kind of genes? Well, morphs.
so like double head albino pieds, double
Hmm.
head candy pieds, double
Mm.
head orange ghost pieds, het clowns. I've got a stack of het clowns, double het stuff with clown. So yeah, like I just have way too many hets than I really should have.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely understand you with that, man. I just I got about I say about 10 empty tubs over here, like little tubs, for just in case if I see something on Morph Market, I'm like, oh yeah, I need that. Like, and that's what I learned with being in a chondro game too. Have those empty slots just in case, so you don't have to wait 1 to 2, 3 months for your new enclosure to get here. Your new 3x2x2 or your new shoe rack to get here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of having a separate quarantine space.
mhm.
So if you're equipped with a proper quarantine space with enclosures, a protocol where they're being handled differently and separately and at different times, you have the ability to bring on animals from other collections. And so if just for example, I had a local ball python keeper that they were moving out of state, and they only had like 5 or 6 animals left in their collection. I'm like, well, if you just want to, sell them all to me, I'll give you a group price, and you can get finished with your relocation business and whatever. So I'm always equipped to be able to take on animals from other collections and have a separate quarantine space. So if you're equipped and ready, it's a lot easier to capitalize on those opportunities.
So when do you think you're going to be acquiring any more green trees in your collection?
Oh, I have too many babies that I'm raising up now.
Yeah.
I have like around 10 or 12 yearlings that I'm raising up. Well, between 1 and 2 and 3 years old that I'm raising up. So what I need to start doing is making some adult space so that once they start growing up to adult size, I have more adult enclosures available.
So are you looking to get rid of any chondros at this moment?
I have 2 offspring that I produced from last year that are actually clutch mates to yours that I have offered to another party, but they're not currently listed, and I'm not like in a rush to sell them. If they sell, that's fine, but if they don't, I'm not hurt either.
Yeah, for sure, man. So we coming up on the end of the episode. Usually I like to sit down for an hour and a half. I don't like to do like long 2-hour episodes or 2.5 hours because hey, people got things to do, people got lives, and people have families. And we here at the Herp Collector Network, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on, and we do not take your presence lightly.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you as a customer acquiring one of my animals.
Oh yeah, hey, look in the more, man. Can you tell everybody where to find you at, man?
So if you want to find me on Instagram and Facebook, I'm under the name Chung Reptiles. I don't really do much of any other social media. And so I try and keep some sort of active presence on social media just so people know I'm a real person. I'm not a scammer. Like
we got a lot of them out there. I got scammed I got scammed 2 times on Facebook when I first came in.
Ooh. But yeah, if you look on my Instagram account, I have thousands of photos going back years and years. I was one of the early adopters of Instagram, and that was actually how I was able to grow my presence on Instagram as high as I was able to, is because I've been using it for years. Once I saw that Facebook acquired it and they had invested that much money into it, I knew they were going to keep it around. And so I've been posting on Instagram for years. You can see a lot of my history there. But like I said, I try and stay active so that people know I'm a real person. I'm a real guy that's, I'm not a scammer. And so you can find me there mostly. If you want to message me privately about anything, anybody that's watching the show is welcome to. I'm welcome. I'm happy to talk to anybody that's a viewer.
For sure. I'm looking forward to some of those Tamika babies. Hey, once they produce, I'm gonna need something.
Okay.
I need something. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, Eric, appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Episode 55, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming through. I'm put you backstage real quick, and I'm say bye to the chat, and we'll talk after the show, bro.
All right, take care, everybody.
What it do, man. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Unfortunately, it was a sad week in the chondro community. Lost our brother Kino. Rest in peace, Kino. I hope everything is going good for your family. Praying for your family and your kids too, man. Me and Kino and Trav, we had a show. Well, we still gonna do the show, but we got a show coming up here in the next few weeks. And man, me, Kino, and Trav, like those are my mentors. Those the people that I look to. Hey, something going on with my chondro, what to do, and then they just tell me what to do. Like we don't talk every day because all they tell me is, hey, just grow these animals up, and then once you get close to breeding time, then we'll, let you know what to do. Till then, I just been educating myself and learning about these chondros. But yeah, man, hey, rest in peace, Kino, Cyclops King. Hey man, we miss you. But anywho, thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight for another episode of Chondro Corner. And I will talk to y'all in a few weeks, man.
Chondro, corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro, corner watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro corner where we make our name. Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner, Chondro corner.